Lenny. Every trade has its occupational quirks. Lawyers cheat on their spouses. Politicians take bribes.
I recently read the book by Tom Wolfe called The Right Stuff that talked about the 7 Mercury astronauts and how they prepared for their incredible journey into space. Well, that reminds me of a video.
Writers like to drink. Coming last.
Easy. That's a lot of G, Cal. Cal! Cal! Cal, eject!
And test pilots.
Damn it, Cal, eject! Eject! Cal! Eject! Cal!
Well, test pilots have a particularly odd habit.
Cal! Cal!
A lot of them die.
So in trying to determine what makes the right stuff for salespeople and people trying to be persuasive in communication skills, I have to ask myself, what are the skills needed? Well, I think one of the things that the movie pointed out was the importance of simulations. More specifically, what I would refer to as high fidelity simulation. NASA had to simulate all kinds of things like the G-force, the effects of acceleration, or the sounds, the sights, even the tubes and wires projecting from their pressure suits. Whereas you, when you're looking at your salespeople, think of all the things you need to be prepared for. It might be the buyer's unexpected or expected actions, or the buyer saying, hey, drop the PowerPoint and just get to the summary. Or maybe it's that tough question somebody on the buyer team asked when you know it was being planted by a competitor. Or maybe the CEO stepping in and saying, hey, how come you guys don't discount your products when you sell to us? Or perhaps your demo freezes and you don't want to look stupid. Or how do you profitably lead a discussion with your buyer when all you have is a whiteboard? These are just some of the things you need to be prepared for. And simulation. One of the industries that is most highly leveraged simulations is the medical community. In fact, they have a term in that community called high fidelity simulation training, where the definition of it is high fidelity simulation is able to provide participants with a learning environment in which to develop non-technical skills that is safe and controlled so that the participants are able to make mistakes, correct those mistakes in real time, and learn from them without fear of compromising patient safety. Participants in simulation are also able to rehearse the clinical management of rare, complex, or crisis situations in a valid representation of clinical practice before practicing them on patients. I think that just means is they can practice all kinds of things and have a safe environment where they can practice it on each other with other salespeople without having to do it first time in front of the customer. Very few organizations or trainings do really good simulation training. Many of them write it off as role-playing, and we really need to get down to the technical matters and let's just make certain we get the technical things. And they don't focus on the soft skills that happen when you do simulation training. When I look at it, from my years, I see 5 really key benefits. First and foremost, you're going to have greater results in less time, and you're going to make less mistakes. The other thing that you're going to see is you're going to see skill retention, incredible skill retention. When done well, lots of the journals have cited that skill retention goes on for at least a year. Another thing you're going to see is what I'll call the fighter pilot trainer seat. When the 2 pilots sit, one an experienced one a new one, and they learn from each other. Sometimes one's in the front seat, sometimes they're in the back seat. But when you get a senior salesperson and a new salesperson focusing on a simulation together, they learn from each other. They learn tricks from the experienced guy, and the new guy is also going to be teaching the older guy some new tricks and keeping them on their toes. The last thing I see, and it's probably the most important, is the increased confidence of the salesperson. Increase confidence in themselves, increase confidence in their product and increase confidence in working with their team. Huge benefits in simulation training. When I get to do simulation training with my clients, either face-to-face or remotely over camera like this, there are a few things that we really like to zero in on. First and foremost is that oft-asked question of, so what do you guys do? And getting a meaningful response other than, oh, that's nice. Another thing would be how to lead a fruitful discussion with a buyer by asking the right questions. Another one might be responding to your buyer's really tough question and getting them to switch that concern into favor and support for your product. Or there might be the how to powerfully listen to the customer and reiterate what the concerns are so that the customer knows that they're being heard. These are soft skills that are incredibly important and can only be done and only should be done in a simulation environment, never for the first time in front of the customer. If you do, you just might find yourself like some of the test pilots, dead in a sales perspective.